All right, good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. Today, I'm pleased to say that we are announcing a first-of-its-kind financial assistance program to combat the spiking costs of gas prices and rising inflation. Joining me today are a number of people. I'll highlight City Clerk Anna Valencia, Chairman Wagasback, and Chairman Brookins from City Council, CTA President Dorval Carter, representatives from Fifth Third Bank and ONB, and we'll talk about their importance in a moment, and YMCA's General Counsel, Chief of Strategy, Swathi Staley. Thank you all for being here. I also want to acknowledge and thank Chairwoman Pat Dow, who could not be with us this morning, but she too has been a strong proponent of bringing relief to our residents, given the significant spike in gas prices that we've seen. As we've all seen and experienced, there has been a shocking rise in gas prices across our city and really across our region and the country. Chicago residents are paying on average $4.87 per gallon for regular at the pump compared to $3.30 per gallon a year ago. And according to the AAA, Americans are now spending nearly $70 each time they fill up their tank. And I know for many of you, $70 is what you would hope to spend, and in many instances, it's much more. And that equates to a significant portion of the annual income that's now being consumed by these rising gas prices. I know from talking to many residents that they are feeling the strain. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And many are unable to fill their tank as much as they normally would because their dollars just don't stretch that far. So my administration has been working through a variety of options to see how we can provide the greatest relief to as many residents as we can. And through that effort and dialogue, I'm pleased to announce our Chicago Moves initiative. This is a $12.5 million financial assistance program providing relief to tens of thousands of drivers and transit riders. Chicago Moves will issue up to 50,000 preloaded gas cards of $150 each to be distributed to eligible residents through a lottery system that can be used at any local Chicago filling station. The city will distribute or add value also to 100,000 cards for public transit use in the amount of $50 each. 75,000 of these cards will be earmarked for commuting residents, prioritizing high CTA utilizing residents from low-income neighborhoods, and another 25,000 for public transit use, which will be distributed citywide through the aldermanic offices. Coupled together, we will work to ease residents' pain at the pump and reduce household expenses as much as we possibly can. And I'm proud to say that we are the first and largest major city in the country to provide this kind of relief to our commuters. Chicago Moves builds upon other relief programs that we provided to drivers from the early days of this administration, again, working in conjunction with Madam Clerk Valencia and her office, such as our ongoing fines and fees reforms and city sticker debt relief program. These assistance programs have truly made an impact in the lives of residents who carry significant financial burden. And I will just say as an aside, I truly appreciate the number of residents who've come to me at various times and talked about how they've been able to get their life on track because of the work that we've done to give them relief. So by subsidizing the cost of gas and transit, we're helping residents get to work, school, the grocery store, the medical office, or wherever they need to get to. Enabling physical mobility directly ties into economic mobility. And I'm committed to making sure that residents in their cars and on our roads are able to move about so that they can commute to work and support their families and earn a meaningful living. This is one of the many tools in the city's toolbox to eradicate poverty and build generational wealth across Chicago. Additionally, boosting CTA ridership is not only good for our recovering transit system, but a step in the right direction to reduce carbon emissions. And as we know, ride-sharing and public transit are valuable ways to conserve energy and ease our reliance on fossil fuels. Residents who would like to apply for gas and transit cards will be able to do so starting April 27th, pending City Council approval. Again, I'm grateful to the clerk, to President Carter of the CTA and his team, Alderman, for collaboration on what I think is going to be a very helpful relief package for our drivers and transit riders. And I'm especially grateful to ONB and to Fifth Third Bank. Fifth Third Bank has stood up in a number of ways to support our residents and a lot of the initiatives that we've done, particularly through the pandemic, to support small businesses. I'm grateful to be introduced to ONB, who will be the entity facilitating the distribution of the gas cards. And again, thank you, one and all, for your partnership. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to President Dorval Carter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. For the last 2 years of the pandemic, the CTA has been there for all of those who need it. While other U.S. transit agencies cut back service or eliminated it altogether, we kept running as many of our trains and buses as we could possibly run, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Why? Because we knew that essential workers and residents without cars depended on us. We knew that for many, public transit was their only option to get to work and to make the necessary trips to see their doctor, to pick up their prescriptions, and to stay connected with family and friends. As the city fully reopens, CTA ridership continues to grow. Every day, more and more people are returning to our trains and buses. The mayor's Chicago Moves program we're announcing today is the perfect way to support that resurgence. Through Chicago Moves, 100,000 Chicagoans in low-income communities will receive $50 in transit dollars to pay for CTA rides on CTA buses and trains. It will benefit CTA riders across the city, but especially on the south and west sides, areas that saw the lowest ridership declines during the pandemic, areas where public transit is the best and sometimes the only option. We are excited to support the city as they take on an innovative, equity-based approach to ensure that transit is a part of the mayor's plan for relief, especially for riders relying on CTA on the south and west sides. There is no question that CTA is the most affordable transportation choice in Chicago. For the price of a gallon of gas, you can ride a whole CTA system across the entire city all day long. A 30-day pass, a full month's worth of rides, costs almost as much as a tank of gas, although I think now it may cost a little bit more. CTA is the best way to get where you're going to go, to work, to school, to run errands, to enjoy everything this great city has to offer. And we look forward to welcoming more riders back to our system in the coming weeks and months. Thank you, Mayor Lightfoot, for your support of CTA and for your support of our riders. And with that, I would like to introduce another individual who is a great partner in support of CTA, City Clerk Anna Valencia.
Thank you, Mayor Lightfoot, for having us all here today as we stand with all city leaders to tackle a lot of the issues we've been talking about. For the last 3 years, the mayor and I have worked together on the Fines, Fees, and Access Collaborative to provide relief for residents struggling under city debt. I'm happy to stand with you here today as we announce a much-needed program that will help many Chicagoans experience immediate relief who are still struggling to pay their most basic expenses. Our office is committed to this partnership and working with the mayor's office to keep all Chicago moving, especially our essential workers who have no choice to work remotely. Having immediate relief that will be a vital boost for these workers and their families. We know that the pandemic has hit communities the hardest, especially in places that have been historically disinvested. As city leaders, we need to provide opportunities for immediate relief while also continuing to work towards policies for structural change that will allow people to come out of hardship and poverty completely. Many of our most vulnerable residents are forced to decide daily between gas and the grocery store as costs continue to soar. Chicago Moves is one important step toward allowing residents facing economic hardship to breathe a sigh of relief. Thank you so much for this program. I look forward to working with the Mayor's Office and CTA, and I would like to now introduce Alderman Scott Wagaspack.
Thank you, Clerk Valencia. I'm Alderman Scott Wagaspack, and I think we all know that as the price of gas has soared, we need to look to make sure that we're helping those that are most vulnerable in our city. I take the train very often, the buses, and I sit with the people who I see that will hopefully benefit from this Chicago Moves program the most. The drivers out there who have to go back and forth to different jobs throughout this city, and if they can't have that access to the CTA, they have to drive. They will benefit from this as well. I'd also like to touch a little bit on the fines and fees reforms. This is something that Clerk Valencia has been working on with Mayor Lightfoot for the last several years. When Mayor Lightfoot first came into office, this was a directive that she took on with the City Council to make sure that we really reduce the burden on, again, those that are most vulnerable in our city. I had the opportunity to meet with several aldermen and President Carter from the Transit Authority to talk about some of these issues, about improving the CTA and making sure that those people who use it every day, who will benefit from this program, get those benefits directly, and that we can do better by the individuals in the city who need it most. So I want to again thank Mayor Lightfoot, President Carter, Clerk Valencia, and all our third-party partners here today who really worked very quickly to put this program together in a way that no other city has done, and I'm proud to stand here today with them to get this done. Thank you very much. And I'll hand it off to Swati Staley. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Wagsback and Mayor Lightfoot for having us here today. At the YMCA of Metropolitan Chicago, we've seen firsthand the impact that market changes can have on families with fixed incomes. A single unexpected change can have a significant ripple effect on the day-to-day lives of our members. This is something that we're seeing firsthand, and now with rising gas prices, and this is where immediate support for these Chicago residents is absolutely necessary. The families served by the YMCA are faced with the unexpected hurdle of deciding how to allocate limited resources while still bouncing back after the pandemic. At a time when children are returning to in-person learning and after-school programming is vital to their development and mental health, parents are faced with a decision. Do they pay for essential needs like commuting to work, or do they choose to support their kids' enrichment and pay for childcare? The simple answer is that they should not have to choose between either of these two because of rising gas prices. Within the human service sector, providers like the YMCA are facing steep financial increases in order to carry out these critical services that Chicago residents rely upon us for. The price of gas has created significant cost increases in operational necessities, such as the transportation of our students to after-school programs. Our members are also the same business owners, the small business owners that make up the fabric of our neighborhoods. They're operating the restaurants, shops, and local businesses that are so critical to the vitality of the city of Chicago. They're at the beginning of a recovery period and still feeling the impact that closures during the COVID-19 pandemic had on their businesses. With their disposable income having to be directed towards rising cost of gas, these same individuals are concerned about whether they'll be able to support their customers and businesses or provide for their own families. Our YMCA families in the Chicago community needs help. The YMCA will continue to provide the child care and education, the health and fitness, and the community connection that our fellow Chicagoans need. We alone, though, can't solve the problems that every Chicagoan needs, like the rising cost of gas. But with the support of the City of Chicago and the Chicago Moves program, we can make this much more manageable for Chicago residents and all of the families that the YMCA serves. Thank you.
We're happy to take your questions. Let me also thank our CFO, Jenny Bennett, and our budget director, Susie Park, who work tirelessly. They will tell you, because I've been pressing them to make sure we get something done. But they and their teams really did an incredible job in pulling this all together, really thinking through what the issues were and making sure that we would be doing something that had maximum impact. So with that, I'm happy to take your questions.
Thanks a lot, Mayor. We're going to kick it off on this side with Ted from Cranes. 2 questions per reporters. Thank you.
Why did you reject any sort of gas tax relief?
Well, we haven't rejected it, and obviously that's still available to us. But in thinking about what we could do to actually provide maximum impact, we thought that this was a better way to go, to literally put a gas card in the hands of Chicago residents. And then obviously we want to continue to emphasize the importance of lowering our carbon emissions by partnering up with the CTA to give those transfer riders some relief at the same time.
And where is this 12.5 million coming from?
It's coming from, mostly from our corporate daughters, but some ARP funds as well.
Craig Dellamore, WBBM.
Hello. One on, one off.
Okay, go ahead.
The on topic, the process for being able to get this
Yeah.
kind of aid. How simple is it going to be, and how frustrating might it be, since a lot of people are going to want this?
Well, we hope to make it as straightforward as possible. And again, with the caveat that we're presenting this to City Council and it's subject to City Council approval. But our expectation is on April 27th, pending City Council approval, we'll open up the process by which people can express their interest. You've got to be a City of Chicago resident. One card, whether it's gas card or a CTA card, per household, so that's going to be important. And then you've got to have a valid city sticker, and then we're literally going to pull from a lottery, and then we'll start rolling this out. And the thing that to also keep in mind is not going to happen all at once. We want to make sure, because unfortunately, we think that these escalated gas prices are going to continue into the summer months. So we want to make sure that we're giving people relief through the course of the summer. But we're going to try to make it as painless as possible. You don't have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You're not going to sit in a long line. We want to give this, bring these cards directly to you.
Okay, and then the off-topic one, because you've given us plenty to talk about today.
Okay.
Talk about why Deborah Witzberg is the right choice for this job, given
Sure.
what she's had to be doing for the last several months.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing that I think is really critically important to stress is the importance of the IG's office and the importance of the independence of the office. In my view, if it's working right, the IG helps city government get better and stronger. The audit function that they perform, I think, is critically important. Obviously, the investigatory process is also important, but really that audit function, where they're looking at programs, they're seeing weaknesses, ways in which we can improve the functions of city government, that's essential. And as I expressed to her, the work needs to speak for itself. And I think she gets that. I think she's got a lot of good ideas on how to improve efficiency within the IG's office itself. We're going to be working with the City Council, I think, to make some tweaks to the IG ordinance to make it stronger and better. But I feel confident, given the level of experience that she's had, that she's the right person for this. Now, she's going to have to answer some questions, because she's a tough cookie. And I know from having performed similar roles throughout the course of my career that you don't always make friends when you're trying to do the right thing and you're telling people you've got to do better. So I'm sure she'll have a robust discussion when she comes before City Council, but I have every confidence in her ability to lead the office in this time.
Thanks, Mayor. Becky, WBZ.
Hi, Mayor.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yesterday, some news broke about the Democratic National Convention coming here in 2024. You, the governor, and Senator Duckworth leading that effort. Could you talk more about bringing the convention here and where you might want it to be held?
Well, I just want to clarify a couple things. The DNC has not issued any formal request for proposal or anything along that line. So we don't know where it's going to go, what the process is. But having said that, look, of course I think Chicago is ideally situated to be able to showcase our city at a time of really international interest in the United States, no less through the Democratic Convention. We haven't had the convention here since 1996. If you think about the strengths in our bona fides, there are many. We have lots of hotel space. We've got a great world-class restaurant community. We've got tons of entertainment, arts and culture, really bar none in the world. So I think that if the opportunity presents itself, we're going to go all in, and we'll be well situated to hopefully persuade the decision makers that they ought to bring the Democratic Convention here in 2024. But as I said before, I don't want to get ahead of the DNC. They have not put out anything formal, but I'm confident working together with our business community as well as our political community will be well situated to put together a very robust and compelling case that the 2024 convention should be headquartered here in our great city of Chicago.
I have an on topic as well, but
Sure.
do you have any thoughts on where that convention would be held?
Well, look, I think we've got a number of options to choose from. It's really going to depend upon what the DNC's specifications are. But we've got a lot of great opportunities to host the convention itself. There's going to be, I think, looking at past practices, there's going to be a necessity for other venues, for state delegations to be able to hold their meetings, and other side events, parties and things, and other convenings. We've got it all here in Chicago. We're not a one-stop shop. We've got lots of different venues that we can offer. Obviously, the United Center, Wintrust, Navy Pier. So a lot of the things, frankly, that were central to the convention in 1996, we've expanded the offerings exponentially since then. So I think and I hope we'll be well situated to make that case.
And for on topic, this obviously addresses gas prices for drivers and transit costs for public transit riders. What about taxis, rideshare, Uber and Lyft? Those prices have gone up.
Yeah.
In your budget, you had the congestion pricing in
Yep.
2020. Was there any discussion about providing relief in that arena as far as transit goes? A lot of people rely on that.
We're concerned about them too. This is obviously narrowly focused on commuters, not the commercial sector, but we continue to be very engaged with the taxi community as well as rideshare and looking at how we can also assist them and frankly use that as alternative forms of transportation. We're very serious about making sure that we reduce carbon emissions here in the city, and as you know, not only have we done this, but we've done things to expand Divvy to other parts of the city. We're going to be announcing soon another expansion of the scooters. So there's a lot of things that I think are coming down the pike. We're expanding the number of bike lanes in the city and really encouraging people to really think seriously about alternative modes of transportation. So yes, all of those things continue to be an area of focus for us.
Moving on to Heather Sharon, WTTW.
Hi, Mayor. The gas cards and the CTA cards will be available for Chicagoans making 140% of the area and median incomes, which is $91,000 for an individual and $140,000 for a family of four. Is that an appropriate level? Does that not sort of mean that some people who are making a pretty good salary will be eligible for this relief, perhaps at the expense of Chicago's working poor?
Well, I wouldn't say at the expense. And look, the reality is, regardless of what your income point is, when you're paying $6 a gallon for gas, as many people are across the city, that hits you. Now, obviously, we want to make sure that we're focusing on lower income and middle income Chicagoans who are really, I think, feeling the weight and the brunt of this surge in gas prices. And we're hoping people that are of means and don't need the relief are not going to be the ones that apply. But we want to make sure that we're really focused on bringing that relief to drivers of a variety of sorts. And obviously the CTA cards are focused primarily on those areas of the city that have been hardest hit and really have been historically disinvested in. So I think we're striking the right balance to make sure that we're bringing relief to a wide swath of folks across our city in every neighborhood.
Back to the convention for a minute.
Yep.
When the city, assuming that it does bid for the convention, I imagine that you and other members of the host committee will be asked, why bring the convention to Chicago, which is still grappling with historically high levels of crime, including carjacking? How will you address those concerns when they are inevitably brought up?
Well, we'll address the concerns in a couple of different ways. Number one, to talk to the DNC about the progress that we're making. And the truth is, every major American city, and certainly those led by Democratic mayors, are facing the same kind of challenges that we're facing. We'll talk to them about the progress that we've been making, the programs that initiatives that we've been putting in to address gangs, guns, and the investments that we're making to really help turn around the fortunes of communities, not just in the short term, but really in the long term. I'm happy to report that end of quarter, we're down in shootings, we're down in homicides, and we're down in carjackings. Not enough, I hasten to add, but we're making real meaningful progress. And then, of course, we're going to talk about specifically what the things that we will be doing to make sure that the areas that the convention sites are going to be utilizing are themselves very safe. So I think we've got a very good and compelling story to tell, and a convincing story that Chicago is the right choice, aside from all of the amenities that we can offer in the city. And I will also say, we're a really fun city in the summertime.
Nobody here is going to argue with you on that one. For Aaron Gettinger, today's the Trans Day of Visibility at a time when there have been a number of crimes against trans people. How can the city address that concern, and does the police department need to do more to reach out to the trans and LGBTQ community?
We all need to do more. We all need to do more to make sure that people who are members of the trans community are not vilified, that they're not ostracized, and that they are accepted into our families, into our community. We have to do more as a city, but really as a country. I look on with great horror the things that we are seeing sprung up in legislatures, primarily in southern states, where they are villainizing children. We know from the data that a significant portion of the homeless youth are LGBTQ plus members, because their families have not accepted these children who have decided it's important for them and their being to lead an authentic life. So when you think then about the targeting of members of the trans community and how trans women in particular have been the focus of violence, we all need to step up and do more, but it starts with opening up our minds and our hearts to be loving and accepting of people when they choose to live their authentic life. You know, it goes without saying that this is deeply personal to me. As a member of the LGBTQ plus community, I think about where I was as a young person, not seeing anyone who looked like me. Now, the truth is, there are plenty of gay people all around, but it was at a time when it wasn't safe, literally wasn't physically safe to come out. And not seeing those role models meant when I embraced my identity as a lesbian, that I struggled for years worrying about rejection from my family, from my friends, the kind of life that I could lead. When I was in my 20s and coming out, we didn't have an opportunity to even think about marriage and children. That wasn't something that was even conceivable. But now it is, because we have changed as a city, as a nation, as a world, and we cannot go back. And we've got to stand tall with our trans brothers and sisters and make sure that they're getting exactly the kinds of support and acceptance that the rest of the gay and lesbian community has received through hard work, struggle, and advocacy. And as I said to somebody yesterday and thinking about today, we're not going to turn the clock back. We're moving forward. And that means a full embrace of our trans brothers and sisters.
Marielena Ponicello, Telemundo.
Thank you. Hi, Mayor.
Hi there.
You said that priority is going to be given to low-income neighborhoods. You also mentioned that people need to show valid city sticker. They need to be residents of Chicago. What else do they need to present in order to get these Ventra cards or gas cards? And is it a one-time thing, meaning if I get one card, can I apply again? or no? I mean,
No,
once
it's one card per household. We want to make sure that 150,000 people that we're going to reach, that we actually reach across our city. That's why we're doing it on a rolling basis, meaning we're not giving out all at once. We know that unfortunately that this gas pain, the increase in gas prices probably is going to continue into the summer months. All the gas prices always go up over the course of the summer, so we're spreading this out in increments over the summer months. But yes, it's one per family so that we can reach the greatest number of residents. And we'll give you more specifics about the eligibility requirements, but you got to be a Chicago resident and you got to have a valid city sticker in order to be eligible to participate in the gas part of the program.
is there a way that this could be repeated in Spanish? Perhaps maybe City Clerk Valencia?
Yeah, we'll make sure that we get that. When we put out the kind of digital, we'll put it out in Spanish. For sure, and a number of different languages. Obviously, Spanish is important, but there are a number of other languages too that we'll make sure that we put it out in as many languages as possible.
Evelyn Holmes, ABC 7. Thanks.
Hi there.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Two questions, multi-part questions.
Okay. I'm ready.
She's ready. It's not all that, but it's okay. So, were you all inspired by the Willie Wilson gas giveaway?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that was a kind of one-stop shop, short fix, not long-term. Why not address the gas tax? Maybe, Mayor, you can address that, and maybe, Alderman, you can address that as well. Why not lower that a few pennies, what have you? Just because, obviously, you give someone a gas card, it does for a minute, but the problem persists.
Well, we actually think that this is more impactful in the short and intermediate term than the gas tax. The city's gas tax is only 3 cents on a gallon, as opposed to what can happen with the state. So we really looked at a range of different options that included and really made the determination that this was the best way that we could reach the maximum number of people over a period of time and give them immediate relief that they actually feel. So we thought that was important. And no, this is something we've been talking about for a long time. You know, I mentioned probably a month, 6 weeks ago, driving through the city and seeing one of the gas stations along the expressway topping out at $6 a gallon for regular. I mean, that is shocking. And again, I'm not an expert on gas taxes, but there's no way you can tell me that is just the normal market forces driving up the gas prices. And I'll repeat again what I said before. I really hope the State Attorney General is looking at what's happening with these exploding gas prices. But this is something that we've been thinking about for some time and wanted to make sure that we were thoughtful in the way that we could bring release and couple it with CTA ridership as well.
And to CTA ridership, President Carter, talk about the issues that you anticipate and how you're going to deal with the crime on the CTA. Obviously, more folks traveling, potential for more issues. What types of security measures are you putting in place to make sure that people who are trying to get to work can remain safe?
Well, actually, the mayor and I had a press conference with Superintendent Brown just a week or so ago where we talked about our strategies for how we're going to address crime on CTA. That includes not only an increased police presence on the system, but also a more than doubling of the security guards that CTA contracts with to work the system. So, you know, we recognize that crime is a concern. I certainly recognize that our customers are very concerned about crime on CTA and their personal safety, and we are working very hard to address those concerns, and we anticipate seeing improvement in both those issues over the course of this summer.
We're going to go all the way to the back here with Mallory, WLS.
Okay.
Hello, Mayor.
Hi there, how are you?
Great, thank you. I just had a quick question about a possibility for the lottery. Why not send all the cards to the Chicagoans to have, like to the families first, and then announce a lottery or draw the names from every Chicagoan having the eligibility? Why do you have to go through an application process to receive the cards? Why not make this more open and easier for everyone?
Well, I'm not really sure that I follow your suggestion, but here again, we want to make sure they're Chicago residents. We want to make sure that they have valid city stickers. And I don't think it's a huge inconvenience to just say, hey, we're going to make a website available. You've got to verify that you're a Chicago resident, that you have and we know from data from the clerk's office who has a valid city sticker, and then we'll literally have a lottery system and pull names there. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay, and for CTA, President Durable Carter, are you going to be adding the value to the venture cards, or how will these cards come down for commuters?
Well, I think the city can speak to that better than I can, but as I understand it, we're not adding value to our venture cards that our customers already have. As part of this lottery, they will get a card that they can then use to either put on their venture account or just use directly and tap on CTA's system.
That's a wrap, Mayor. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.